Hail and good morning, everyone. Welcome to an early morning episode of the Signal Boost. If you're watching this, it's 10 a.m. on Friday, May the 3rd. I'm your host, author John A. Douglas, author of The Black Crown. And with me this morning is a gentleman who has been smashing through all the crowdfunding scenes, all the comic book shows, trying to get this out there. And I got to tell you, it sold me pretty quickly. I'll get to him in just a second. I want to say hello this morning to the chat. And I want to say hello to Inge Kavam, who came in early with, for fuck's sake, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I don't
But
either.
it's making me laugh. Jeff Potts, a.k.a. Herman P. Hunter, a.k.a. The Lore Forge. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Mr. Gray Wolf coming over from Mr. Vaughn's YouTube channel. We're simul streaming over on his channel over there. Good to see you.
Yeah, I can see Grey Wolf.
Wrangler, hail. Good to see you. My good friend William, the Bald Book Geek. Hello. Good to see you, man. Good to see everyone this morning. I hope your Friday is going well. And I finally got a little bit of a break in my schedule. I could sit down, and I have been wanting to have Mr. Vaughn on for actually a good couple months now. You approached me
didn't I?
you approached me a little about a month or so ago, and I'm like, where can I fit this guy in? Well, let's wait till the comic launches. Now your comic is launched.
Yeah, there were a few pushbacks.
Yeah. My schedule's been really hectic lately. Hello to B.A. Turner. Says, hail jabronis. Good to see you, sir. Also a successful indie, well, not a comic, indie author, but he has a lot of comic stuff on the side. Mr. Wrangler.
I didn't know he was an author. I knew he.
Yeah. I'll never.
I've been just seeing him posting about his Vigilantes Creed, but I didn't know he was an author too.
It's a book. That was an interesting risk that he took.
That was in order
to. It's a book, yes. It's not a comic, but he uses comic art to help promote it. It's right here. I've got it. It's a duology, 2 books in one actually. Vigilantes Creed is a book series.
Oh, okay.
But he got artist Joe Ball to.
Joe Ball's the man. Joe Ball's a friend of mine.
Oh yeah, look at this. I'm gonna put this up on cover. The cover of you. That is gorgeous. Who would not want that on their bookshelf? I mean, really. I'll always stop what I'm doing and help shelf for other people. It's just my thing. Wrangler, thank you for the 420, sir. Thank you. Much appreciated. Mr. Vaughn has been making the rounds on all the indie comic shows and everything. And I feel like I feel like I'm a little Johnny come lately here. But for the benefit of those who are watching this, either now or in the upcoming replay, Vaughn, why don't you tell folks who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Vaugh Coleman. Obviously, I am a writer primarily, but I also, I'm a filmmaker, actor. I'm a comic book editor, and I finally am launching my first ever launch. It's so weird. It's like because I remember I would be like sign up, and then now I have to get used to. I'm getting used to saying back. My comic book Phenomenova has launched the crowdfunding campaign. And the book is mostly done. And since then, I've just been on the promo train, working on the book when I can. The script is done, so I'm really just giving feedback to artists. But there's always some production tasks I'm doing. And so that's really, whenever I'm not working on it, I'm either working on a video essay in my YouTube channel right now, or I'm working on the book or some other stuff in my life. But yeah, it's been good. And, I'm just keeping going. But this was an idea I've had ever since I was a little kid. It started as a film and then worked its way down the line to a comic book. And I'm so glad that it's because as I would have never been able to do this story, like a big budget superhero story, if I didn't fall in love with comic books the way I did. So I'm thankful for that.
Where did you kind of get your start with writing? Did you start writing like short stories or books or comics first?
I started writing. Well, I mean, whenever I'd get a creative assignment for class, obviously I get crazy on it. But like, I didn't like. I would kind of write stories, but it would mostly be like taking notes and imagining. I guess I do that thing that I think all writers do, where they'd be like imagining the story. You see all those memes. It's like imagining the story and then actually writing it. It was one of those things. So like, I had this idea in my head since I was in 2nd grade, as well as many others. But I wouldn't really write them that much. I'd act them out. I'd play them out with friends, or I'd stuff like that. But I don't think I actually really, when I say started taking writing, like realizing, okay, I really need to, get it together until a little later on. And then I guess like once I really started taking it seriously, it was screenwriting was what I mean to.
Interesting.
So,
You say you've worked in some television before. What can I ask what you've worked on?
no, I'm kidding, of
No.
course. No, you can't ask. No, so I majored in filmmaking, and I've done a few production jobs, a few production assistant jobs.
Mhm.
Nothing crazy yet, but I've worked on 2 feature films. I worked on a film called Miranda's Victim, which was about the Miranda rights trial. That was really, really cool. It was like right after college. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? And then like within a week, I'm at a bar and I get a text saying, hey, we want you on this movie. I'm like, hell yeah. So that was great. That was fantastic. And then there was a dry spell, and then the whole industry went on strike. So
Yes, I
uh,
remember seeing stuff about that.
yeah,
It
I was
was,
like, ah, man, there goes my job. Um, and then eventually,
so
I, I,
you were kind of caught up in the middle of all that, huh? Kind of
I mean,
forced.
not directly, but it was like I couldn't apply to jobs because there weren't any. Like it was like,
Right.
oh, well, I couldn't apply to production assistant jobs. So I mean, obviously, people can always apply to jobs, period. But like in terms of all the productions were shut down, and that seemed to be just because the thing is, what people don't realize, just because they go off strike, a lot of that stuff is still getting back ready. Um, so I should reach out soon and just double check and see what's available. But yeah, I mean I worked on some films. I directed. If you go on my YouTube channel, there's a short film that I directed when I was in college. Um, I've been mostly focused on comics right now, but I do intend on going back and working on some films. Uh, I don't plan on letting either go, but I starred in a ton of short films in college as an actor. I worked on a ton of short films behind the scenes, whether it be my own or my friends. So even though like they weren't anything huge, it really I became a better filmmaker with like everything I worked on, and so it gave me a lot of experience. That's the thing when you're at film school and you're surrounded by creatives, it really does help you. And I remember even like we would go and share our scripts around, and I would share my comic script around. My friends would give me feedback, and then I would take that. I got so much feedback on the script for this comic to the point where I rewrote it many, many times for it to be what it is now.
uh, Revising is always going to be your friend because you always have that. You talk about how you were for the longest time going sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up. It does feel weird, doesn't it? Because you're in that phase of gotta hype it, hype it, hype it, and then it's finally out there, and you got to convince people to buy it. And it does feel weird to work on something for so long, and then it's actually done. It's like you're a dog chasing cars, right? And then when you finally catch the car, you're like, well, damn, what do I do now? Shit.
Well,
Okay.
see, that's the thing is it's not even that because it's like the model I chose the whole crowdfunding I'm basically calling it a pre-order because that's what it is. Like the book is going to be done. As it was already like really fully funded. Just a little extra little bit helps, and also it's also so I know how much to print. And it's also most of my following, they're into the crowdfunding model anyway. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna try and do quick turnaround times if I can. I don't want to rush things, but I've been working on this for a very long time, so it's not really gonna be. You're not gonna get a rush product. We are 40 pages have been colored and 52 have been inked, and it's great working on it, but it's like knowing that I'm still not done selling it. Even once I finish this campaign, I'm not done selling it because then I want to have it on my website. Because even then, I'm like, oh, I could buy the comic, and then people are like, well, all right, when am I getting it? I'm like, well, it's not, you're not. They're like, oh, so then some people will just prefer to wait. That's one of the things I realize, and you kind of have to. It's a lot of work, but you gotta be selling the book at every level, right? So there's selling, getting ready for the campaign, which I would say I went overboard, but really I didn't because I had a successful launch. So,
No. You make a really good point right there when
yeah,
you say selling it at every level. That is something that And I have one foot to kind of switch gears slightly. I have one foot in the indie comics world a little bit, and I have another foot mostly in the indie novel world,
Right.
especially indie fantasy. And you are seeing a lot of authors who have become traditionally published, but they're not big names. It got released in a court document not that long ago from Penguin House, one of the big book publishers. That I don't remember the exact numbers, but basically 50% of their newer novelists only sell about less than 500 copies, and like 1% of that sells less than a dozen copies. Like, newer authors are not selling all that much. But hold on, my wife wants to speak to me real quick.
All right.
My wife wants me to lock the door. She's about to go, so you can go ahead and keep rolling, Vaughn. I'll be right back.
All right. I'll keep them entertained.
Take the show. It's in
I'm
your
good
hands.
at rambling.
I'm trusting you.
I'm good at rambling. All right. So he's trusted me with this channel. I will not fail you guys. So no, I mean, it's interesting hearing about publishing. I can't wait to hear what he was saying about Penguin Random House. But weren't they the ones? Were they the ones that were censoring Rodol? Was that them? Some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So the indie scene, it's there's always something to work on. There's always something to work on, but it is crazy how much stuff there is. It's weird because it's like I was always thinking, I'm special as a writer, I'm whatever, and then you go and you realize once you leave your high school or your whatever and go out, you realize that there are a lot of unique creative types. Like everyone's like the creative type at your school, right? Then you realize that you're not as special as you thought you were when you're into the real world, and that's when you have to compete. But you also have to lift each other up, and that's I guess what we're doing now, which is cool. Always nice finding other creatives. It's always fun, and I'm always enjoying it. This has been even this morning, I got a new backer, which is great. Man, this has been great. I'm at, what are we at? 155 backers. You guys rock. It's been so fun. It's been so nice just seeing all the support. And most importantly, I can't wait for people to actually read it, and for people to react to what I've got in store. It's really exciting stuff. I don't know how many I think we're about close to 350 copies sold. I think we're getting close. We're getting very close. Which is exciting. It's always exciting seeing new backers roll in. I wonder, and by the way, when we hit 15K, we will get our first stretch goal, which seems like a possibility. Oh,
the wife's gone. Now the stream can really get started. Sorry about that. I should have warned you about that before the stream went live. My wife may occasionally ask me to do something real quick. She don't care about my streams at all. Mm-hmm. I'm like, baby, I'm trying to do a stream. I've got a guest. I'm talking to people. It's not that important. Come on and come do this real quick. Take the trash out. I'm done streaming. It is what it is. She knows, but we have good fun with it. It's all right.
Yeah, that's fine by me. I can ramble.
I'm glad the show's still here. Thank you very much for not burning it down.
Yeah.
To kind of get back to that point that I was making before I had to jump up, marketing at every level, that is something that a lot of the indie authors both know, but a lot of even traditionally published authors who are not big names are having to learn that now, because the big publishing houses, unless you're a big name like Sanderson or King, you're not getting pushed. You're not getting marketed. And some of them have come to find this out, and they're in this area of kind of resenting it, because they feel like, I went through all the process of querying. I got an agent. I got hired by the big house. Why should I have to put all the work in when it comes to the marketing? But, here in indie comics and in the indie authors, we're finding this out, that we have to be our own best marketers. We have to be our own platforms. We have to put in that level of hard work to, get our name and our work out there. And to me, that's the essence of the Iron Age, is, us taking the reins of our own control and, making it what we want. There's no barrier between us and our audience. You've got a YouTube channel. You didn't have to come on my channel. You got your channel. You could just go on there and talk. And I see you streaming every now and then.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm working and I can't stop and say hi. But and I saw you on but you do come on these other channels and try and do that marketing at every level. I'm going to remember that, by the way. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I mean, well, you say that, but it's like I'm looking in the chat, for example. I don't recognize most of these names. I know B.A. Turner, I know Grey Wolf. That's about it. So every backer is every person that's in the chat is a new potential customer and a new potential fan and a new potential business connection.
Right.
Even possibly a new friend, right?
Yeah.
There's a million reasons why to stream, even on smaller channels. There's reasons. I'd always be surprised. Like people like Graham Nolan would be like, yeah, they come on my channel. I'm like, are they doing a favor for a friend? But it's also business because you never know if even one person, like I'd be like, I got the creator of Bane, and suddenly he has like whatever. Now, even if they don't back his stuff right away, they know that now this guy who did something they like is doing indie comics. I had a friend who's never read comics who's like, Vaughn, I'm watching your show, and this guy's book looks really cool.
Right.
The guy's never read comics. So you never... Yeah, one of the problems I think that in the comic book industry, I've seen this argument. I think it's a ridiculous argument. People go, "Oh, you're just." I understand the chasing phantom argument audience thing is real, right? But newsflash, you don't get new comic fans, by appeasing to comic fans. You don't. Everyone has to be converted, right? The problem I had was the comic book industry had decided they knew who their fans were. And so as a kid, I'd watched the Justice League show. I'd watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Good stuff.
I had to seek out comics.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, I want to know where this all comes from. And then I had to go into a comic shop. No one goes into a comic shop blind. And there weren't just comics lying around at stores.
Yeah.
I would have been ripe for the picking if they had been advertised properly.
Yeah. And look, hey, it was doubly frustrating for me when I was younger, which was the 80s and the early 90s, where I did not have comics were not huge at that time. They were making some splashes, but there were no comic shops where I lived. If I wanted a comic, I had to hit a spinner rack at a gas station. I had to go check the magazine rack at the grocery store. And I would end up going so frequently because I was a kid. I couldn't drive myself. Excuse me. That I would, it would be impossible to maintain a run, to collect a run. There was only one comic in the 90s that I was actually able to to keep. And that was the Archie Sonic comic, which, I could order online and they would mail it directly to me.
You know what I found out about Sonic yesterday when I was on a live stream? Apparently, I didn't know this. Sonic is more popular in the UK than Mario.
He had a UK comic, which, according to some fans that did bother reading it, was actually better than the Archie comic. I tried a couple issues. I really didn't see it all that much, but it was a completely different canon and a completely different comic. So it kind of had its own fandom over there. Just a little bit different than what we had over here. But I loved the cartoon it was based on, and I stayed with that comic through up to the mid-2000s before the quality of it was just, well, I mean, one, I was in my mid-20s by that point, and two, it was still a kid's comic, and but even then, the basic storytelling was just kind of flatlining on a lot of levels, and I was just kind of like, whatever. Oh, that's right. I forgot. We had a Brit in the chat, Bald Book Geek, who's over there. He's half Texan, half British. Says, yes, he was a big deal here. It was a great fun, but it starts off not too great. Okay, maybe that's what it was. I didn't stick with it for too long.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I've been I haven't gotten into Sonic comics yet, but I grew up with the games. I always really liked them. I always thought they were fun.
Yeah, games are pretty good.
Yeah. And then let's see, it's interesting though. It's okay, because one of the things I think that's good about selling my own books is they don't have to wait for a secondary market. If you miss an issue, you just get it from me.
Yeah.
Now the problem is picking up new people, right? Marketing. I mean, holy crap! I'd love to expand my business and get more people, but and that's one of the other things too. Is the frustration is you'll never get your full audience. Like I don't expect everyone to back issue 1. I know a lot of people will have not even heard of it for a long time. You have to realize that you're not going to get every customer right away. and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. From my perspective, if I can interject here, just I have in the indie spaces that I've been in for the last, say, 3-4 years, since I really started pushing out mainstream stuff and really, enveloping myself with indie stuff. Even though I started on the pros end of things, the three big indie communities that I've noticed are the comics, novels, and tabletop role-playing games. And that's an interesting trifecta that if you've got the reach, the people, some of the players, like you could hit all three of those and really expand your. I've been trying to tell some of my indie author friends, look, you guys got great books, you got great stories. You ought to be doing an indie comic that goes along with your book. Yes, I know it's a lot more work, and it's a whole different community, and it's something I'm trying to break through to, hopefully this year. But to me, that's another good way of doing it. And tabletop role playing, like that's a whole nother a venue right there. But it probably takes someone a little smarter than me to kind of hit that particular trifecta. I'd love to do it, but I'd also love to have a lot more time. I have to work a lot.
Oh man, time, yeah, time is
not enough time in the day, bro.
Never. Like I'm always like, man, I like, because I've had this video essay that I'm like so close to getting out the door, and I'm like, man, why don't I have enough time? And it's like maybe because I'm doing interviews every day with Shake Time, and maybe because
look at that, another backer.
Thank you, Junebug. Wow, thank you. Yeah, it's my book. I'm so glad to see so much enthusiasm. See, again, this is the reason why it's good to go on so many channels.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna go ahead and pull up the book now. We're starting to talk about it. Let's go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah.
Click this, click that. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Here is your I've got the one that's up on Fund My Comic. Are you up on Indiegogo or Kickstarter as well, or is it just here?
Going to be on Kickstarter probably within a month.
Okay.
I don't have an exact date yet. Once I get the Kickstarter cover, we're good.
All right.
I got to ask that artist about that.
So tell me about Phenomenova, because one, great name. Two, great artwork on the cover. The cover sells it so much.
Yeah.
I told you last night, I showed this to my kids. I said, what do you guys think about this? And my daughter's 11, my youngest is 8, and they're like, oh, that looks really cool. I like him. He looks like he's got strong powers. And my youngest, he started to get a little critical with it. He's like, maybe he could have some other kind of hair. And I'm like, boy,
what's wrong with his hair?
I don't know. He's 8 and he's autistic. Who knows? I don't have any idea why he would make that criticism. It looks good to me, though. It gives me a little bit of that. What was that game called? Oh shoot! It was a PlayStation 3 game. Oh damn! I can't remember its name. Where you had superpowers. You know what I'm talking about?
Game? Wait, huh? What game?
It was a PS3 game where you had superpowers, and you could choose to be good or bad. Oh gosh!
I don't think I've played it. I didn't have PS3.
Oh gosh!
I had PS2. But,
okay.
I had PS2 and then I had Xbox.
I can't remember what it's called. It's okay though; it'll come back to me later when I'm not thinking about it. But it kind of gave me those vibes. Tell me about the comic book, man. What's it about?
So, Phenomenova is set 20 years after World War III and follows the idealistic son of a war hero who is struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal, and he finds himself awakening with lightning powers and lightning speed, and decides he wants to use those powers to sit out and become a superhero and make the world a better place, inspired by those that came before him. But he finds himself in way over his head when he tries to intervene with a heist at a nuclear reactor and finds himself coming face to face with a supervillain that is totally out of his league.
Are there other heroes in the world like him? Or is
it absolutely. Just him? Yes. Okay. And so Phenomenova is the name of the team that he'll be joining. You don't see them in issue 1 because I decided I wanted to focus on keeping it more contained and keeping it on the main character and his origin story. But he will join a team called Phenomenova. So his superhero name is Galvanite. And then Phenomenova will be the name of the team. But if you scroll down, you can actually see some of the heroes so World War III had superheroes. And as I was coming with the backdrop for the world, I was like, hold on, this is a story in itself. World War III with superheroes. Like as I was just coming up with the backstory and I was planning out I realized I was essentially writing a story, right? With how World War III played out with superheroes. So it was coming up with characters, and I was like, this is the story. So eventually I would love to tell a story set during World War III with superheroes called Crusader Corps. That'd be the name of the team. And you could see some of the members there. And I won't spoil who, but one of the members of that team will be the one training this new generation. You could potentially see some of them. I won't spoil who survived the war, who didn't. But you will at least see one of those characters will be helping train the team and training Miles to become a superhero.
I am seldom at a loss for words when it comes to comic art, but this shit right here, man, this is inject this directly into my veins.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is exactly the kind of thing that you want when you pick up a comic, is really quick, kick-ass art.
Yeah, that when I posted that piece of art, I got so many signups. People love that art so much that I will say, for if we hit 15K, everyone gets a mini print of this for free.
That's awesome. It looks like you're probably gonna get to it, because I mean, look up here. You've
at
already
the rate
hit,
I'm going, yeah,
10. So. You've hit 10K in 13 days. Like by the time you got on my show, I'm like, this guy doesn't need promotion from me. What the
Everyone
hell?
needs promotion. Everyone needs promotion. Hell, I just got a new backer already, so
yeah,
there's never no one's. I'm not too good for anyone's promotion, especially considering I'm unpublished. As unproven, right? Well, actually, I'm not unpublished. I keep forgetting that. I'm not unpublished.
The first comic. It just feels that it's just the first comic.
My first comic actually is a 10-pager in here.
Lady Ellie, thank you for dropping in. Good to see you. Andrew Knapp, you as well. Jolly Green, good to see you, sir. Very early.
Brian never stops, Jolly Green.
Right. I know I don't normally stream in the evening on Fridays because everybody's streaming and like everybody's busy, so they're not watching.
Yeah, I have it on an evening stream on Friday. Yeah, that's why people who stream earlier, honestly, very much can. Especially, I've been just like attacking getting on as many shows as I can, and I've been on show like so many different shows, and it's been great. It's been really great.
Yeah, I saw you on T Bunny's podcast last night.
Yeah,
and you jumped on his podcast. You jumped on his stream in the afternoon, and I was at work. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this, say hi, because I hadn't watched T Bunny in a minute. And then shit started to go sideways at work. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to get this work done. I'll have to catch the replay. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, man. Oh gosh, this art is awesome.
Yeah, the
artist. Who's your artist?
Philip Cruz is my artist, and then my colorist is Jesse Hagee. And then if you look at that for that mini print, that mini print comes free with everyone. Everyone who backs the book will get that free. And you can order another copy if you want for just $3 if you scroll all the way down. But that mini print, everyone will be able to get their hands on that when they back.
Nice. And not everyone's lists this out, man. You've got a whole team on your hands here. Mm-hmm. This is impressive. Not everybody I meet has a team that helps them out.
Well, I mean, I had to. I have no artistic talent, so it's a necessity. You look at all the roles, because people say that, but then it's like you look at all the roles and it's like, yeah, it all makes sense, right? Like, so I have my artist, my colorist, my letterer, an editor, and then I had an assistant editor as well. Like my buddy, he came on. He had been giving me feedback from the beginning, and I was like, of course. And he knew stuff about nuclear reactors I didn't. When I had decided instead of a bank heist, I got feedback. They were like, let's do something more interesting. And I was like, okay. And then I realized, well, if it's in the future, let's do some kind of futuristic reactor, because I felt nuclear reactors were the way of the future. And my friend had said, hey, here's this. It's theoretical at the moment, but fusion reactor, try that. And he knew a lot of it. So I brought him on. And then he ended up giving me overall feedback on the scripts. He's been great. So he's my assistant editor. But then I also wanted someone with more writing experience than me to be my editor. And then if you look at that double page spread, there's so many superheroes that it was like my main artist, I could just tell he wanted to get started, and I did too. So it's like, do you want me to hire someone to do some of those designs for you? And he was like, sure. So he did 2 of them. He did the Golden Gallant, the knight, and he did the Ninja Chick. But then the other 4, the Ninja Chick, the Phoenix Senshi. Then the other 2, the other 4 were done by a different.
You're breaking up on me really badly there.
Oh, I am. Is it better now?
No, it sounds like there's a robot fucking you in the ear.
Okay, hold on.
It might be your. And I'll say hi to the fans while you're fixing that. Transformers fan, one of my friends from Twitter says we are here. We are waiting. Good to see you, sir. Gray Wolf says he's working on this laptop all day. Easy for him to catch the live streams. My good friend Devil's Air says home from work now. Time to fry some fries because it's easy food. Also, my mother still has lung problems. Keep an ear on her to hear if she gets a lung attack and to help her out. Thank you, sir. Good. Keep an eye on your mom. We'll be praying for her. Mario Trujillo says, I had to miss work because of the runs. This is a great distraction as my bowels tell me to get effed.
Nice. Well, I'm always here to offer escapism. Is this any better?
Okay, just now sounds a little better.
Okay. I just unplugged it and plugged it back in again.
There you go. There we go.
It's the magic trick. So then you there, and then for the mini print, I had one artist do it, one artist color it. So that's another two. Then for the covers, I had luckily all my cover artists are doing their own colors, so which is good. So
yeah,
Reenie's going to color her cover. She hasn't yet, and yet it's still the highest selling cover. So all variant covers are going to be limited to campaigns.
Okay.
So once it's like on my website and whatever, you'll be able to get the main cover. You will not be able to get the variant covers outside of the campaign. So if you want that, definitely make sure you get that.
Now that's a really good variant right there. I like that one too. And the Final Fantasy, like didn't even have to tell me this was Final Fantasy inspired variant because you can just tell some of us old schoolers are like that.
Yeah.
Looks real nice and pretty thematic and on point considering Rebirth and everything that's been out on the PS5. I have not played those.
I've been playing it on stream. It's been fun. And when I say I'm working on a video essay, it's and you might like it. It's a video essay. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it today on the original Final Fantasy VII. I was like, I'll just do a quick video essay. Ended up being 49 pages. It's going to be over 2 hours long. So, but I'm almost done with it. Like I should be putting the finishing touches. It should be up tomorrow.
Birds of a feather, man. I've got my first long form video set up for tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. But it's a tribute to an author that was greatly influencing of me. Her name was Sarah Douglas, and you probably haven't heard of her because she's kind of fallen into a bit of obscurity in like the literary realm. That was the reason I wanted to do a tribute because I didn't want this woman's phenomenal work to get forgotten. So. Gotcha. It was like an hour and 20 minutes, and I had stuff that I had to cut just to get that time.
Me too. I had to stop myself from adding more details, especially as I was editing in the gameplay footage. I'd notice even more because one of my main thesis of this video is that Final Fantasy VII is a masterclass in storytelling, primarily not just because of the story itself, but because of the manner in which it's told. In the meticulous way information is laid out. And I would find more examples as I was editing the footage. And I'm like, nope, I'm already at 49 pages. I'm not adding any more. Stop.
Well, on that note, have you finished what's the most recent one? Rebirth? Was it Remake first and then Rebirth?
I haven't finished Rebirth yet. No.
You haven't finished Rebirth? How do you feel about the story so far? Because I've been watching my buddy J Moles Gaming play it. And he really likes how the story's being laid out. And I'm kind of on the fence about it.
I actually really like the dialogue. I like the way stuff is getting laid out. The last chapter I did actually was a chapter, or the chapter I'm on is in Gungaga, which is interesting because that is literally just a pit stop in the original game. There's nothing notable. There is other than like the only notable interaction from what I recall, at least that I included in my video and that I remember, is they go and they meet Zach's parents and have a quick conversation, which is the first thing you do there. But then they added this whole section at the reactor and with the live stream that I actually really liked. Because I remember in a remake, like I liked it because it didn't feel like it wasn't trip. It just felt like another. It actually felt in place, which surprised me because I'm like every time when they added something new, I was like, oh god. Is this where it goes downhill? Because the last game did that, and so far I've really liked everything that they've done. I'm iffy on it looks like they're doing some like alternate timeline stuff with Zach, which I'm not crazy about.
The gist of what I've gathered is that the new games are basically kind of incorporating the idea of multiverses so that the characters and Sephiroth seem to be aware of what happened at the events of the first game. And therefore, is there the possibility that the outcome of that timeline could be changed in these games? Which I say I'm on the fence about that, because on the one hand, that is, if you are going to incorporate multiverses, that is an interesting and unique way to incorporate it. Like, hey, there was this other timeline where we did all these things already and we lost. How can what can we do to kind of affect that outcome and make sure that doesn't happen? And more importantly, if the villain knows, would he still go through with his plan? But on the other hand, I realize one of the things about this that has turned a lot of people off is the fact that it's really not what we wanted for a long time, which is just a graphical upgrade to the existing.
That's
game.
my problem too. Is that I had to play. My friend told me don't play the remake, play the original first, and I'm glad I did, because I would have been so confused during remake, because they just dropped this shit with Sephiroth on you. Like in the original game, they explained Sephiroth so well. He is the perfect introduction. In the new one, they just kind of like throw him at you and like, ha, you get that reference. And it's like, normally if people who haven't played this 20-year-old game would be like, no, I don't actually. I don't get it at all. Because but I do very much like the game so far. God, now I want to play more of it. All right, I'm going to finish this video essay, and then I really am going to try and marathon this game. Maybe I'll play some more of it today.
That sounds good, man. I remember 7. It was not the transformative JRPG for me that it was for a lot of my fellows in my generation, because I didn't start there. I started with another SquareSoft JRPG called Saga Frontier, which is a hell of a weird one to start with. And then I played Thousand Arms, Chrono Cross, and I didn't get to Final Fantasy until 9 was out. That was my first Final Fantasy.
Oh, here, that's the creator of the game, I think, said that was his favorite.
Oh, yeah. But 7, the thing I remember most about 7 is I remember not liking the fact that it seemed like you'd be going at a good clip, and then all of a sudden you got a new mini game thrown at you.
Oh, and the new one does that shit too.
And I'm like, what? I play more mini games than I do actual JRPG content. What's going on?
Yeah, that is and to be fair, it is my fault because I keep doing all the side quests because I'm like, I'm this far in. It isn't entirely my fault that I'm spending more time on side quests than the actual story. Like, I would totally be done with the actual story by now if I wasn't doing this. But like, there was so much time, and even people in the chat would be like, "Dude, why are you still playing this card mini game? All you do is complain about it." And be like, "I know, but I'm already this far in." That was the thing with
watching J Moles. He was getting frustrated at these mini games, or he'd be playing Sonic, and it's like it's absolutely tearing him apart. He's complaining the whole time, and then afterwards he's like, "Yeah, I really like the game. Like, I watched you complain about it for 2 hours, man."
Yeah.
But it wasn't that bad. I didn't like it as much as 9, though. That's just me.
Yeah.
Admittedly.
No. A lot of people say that 7. I mean, yeah. There's 7. I've been told I need to play 7. I mean, not 7. I've played 7. I've been told I need to play 9. 8 has like its mix. A lot of fans of 8, but also a lot of haters of 8. 8, I notice, is a very divisive one.
Yeah, not a fan of 8. It had a cool aesthetic. It had an interesting setting. That's the story of it, though, was just it was like a ping pong ball in a dryer. It was all over the place.
Is that it? Yeah, I heard that it's messy in its story.
It is. That was the reason Spoonie hated it so much.
I remember, 9 is generally one of them. 9 and 10 are beloved. 6 is beloved. I hear, I think someone had recommended me 4.
I've played through a little bit. I played through 4, and 4 had a good story at times.
But generally speaking, the most beloved ones that I hear are 6, 7, 9, 10.
Yeah, 10's had this weird life cycle where it was given perfect scores right out of the gate, and then a couple of years later, and then Spoonie came out with his review and how much he hated it. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the internet was like, yeah, I really don't like that either. And it kind of got dunked on for a while. It was memed because of that, scene where Titus is laughing.
That one?
Yeah. I mean, he was doing that on purpose, though. That wasn't like bad direction. But anyway, and then as time has gone on, now it's kind of coming back to where people are like, oh, I really did actually like it the whole time. So it's weird to watch media go through that weird life cycle where people like it, people don't like it, people are okay with it now. I've seen the prequels go through that as well. People liked it at first, then they dunked on them real hard, and now we're coming back to a place where, oh, well, in comparison to the sequels,
at least
the prequels weren't that bad. I still got my problems with them, but at least there was a cohesive story.
Yeah, I think, man, there's a lot of stuff. Zelda cycle. Zelda, I mean, I love the original Zelda. I mean, not the original Zelda. Although I played a bit of that. That game was tough. No, the
oh yeah.
But
I never knew what I was doing in that. One of them, you have to have a guide kind of games.
Yeah. No, I had that. Ocarina of Time. I love Majora's Mask. That's the thing. I've been getting off with this, and I have Stellar Blade. I need to finish Zelda, the last one. I never finished Tears of the Kingdom, and I need to finish Rebirth. Dude, I've had this. Wow, has it been? When did Tears of the Kingdom? There's no way. Have I really been that distracted?
Yep. Yeah, you have. Because I'm gonna tell you what I've been working on through for a couple years now. Xenoblade 2.
Holy crap! It's been almost a year since Tears of the Kingdom came out. How have I not finished it?
Welcome to later adulthood, where your favorite hobbies are no longer able to fit into your time schedule.
Yeah, and I don't even have a job yet, but it's creating. It's hard to explain because it's like I when I explain to people, I'm like, I'm busy all day. It's like I haven't been writing, I haven't gotten the video done. What am I doing? But then I break it down the tasks I'm doing, and I'm like, no, it makes sense why I didn't have a day. Like,
you're busy doing stuff, you just don't have anything to show for it at the time.
Yeah, and it feels like that.
Hey, I work 2 jobs and I got 3 kids and a wife, and I'm an author full time and a part-time YouTuber with middling success. It's fine, but I ain't got no time to fit for video games. I can sit down, play a game for maybe an hour, and it's time for bed. Got to get up at 4:30
Oh yeah, and you could barely get anything done in an hour. That's the thing. And again, in a game,
just when you get started going, then all of a sudden you realize, I've got to stop what I'm doing. Got to stop what I'm doing.
You could just play till an obscene hour and then hate yourself in the morning, which I've done.
It happens. But you fortunately had time to make Phenomenova, and I got to tell you, the results of it and your creative direction are paying off because, again, I can't praise this art enough.
The art is so
direction,
good.
The story. People say there's superhero fatigue. I don't feel it whenever I see something like this. I'm going to be
that's honest. Good. Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm ready. I look at this and I'm ready to find out what's going on because I've always liked cape shit, to a certain extent. I just don't like it when it's done badly by people that don't care for it.
And that's the thing. I love this genre, right? I adore this genre. And I always say this. In an age of deconstruction, I wanted to make a reconstruction and reconstitution of a genre that I think very much deserves it and earns it. People are always like, we need to people. I remember I would get feedback that's like, maybe you should make it darker. And I'm like, no, I think the problem is I need to rediscover the core of the story. And the fact of the matter is the story is going to be unique if it's done by a different person. And if it's done through a unique lens.
I think we have had a little too much darkness these days, and we need something that's a lot more hopeful, a lot more fun. And that is something that you cannot discount in this day and age. People, a lot of us, even myself, are too young to remember, like the 70s was like this. There was a lot of crime. There was, the Vietnam War that was going on. There was a lot of dourness. And you know what kind of helped break a lot of people out of that malaise was Star Wars. Star Wars was hopeful and fun, and it brought people in. And I have been on the lookout, what is going to be breaking us out of this cycle of just dourness and cultural stagnation, something good and fun. And if somebody else won't do it, then I'll try and do it.
Damn right. That's what I'm feeling like is, and the thing is, I will not, unlike, I will not be caving to anyone either. This is my plan. This is my story. And that's the sad part about reading older superhero comics is knowing that eventually it's going to lead to a place where it's going to be taken over by, like, for example, I'm reading X-Men and it's just like this sad reality in the background that's like knowing these properties that I love is eventually going to be taken over by people that don't value the medium as much as they
Right.
should. And it's sad. It's a very sad reality, but it is reality.
It does think everything ends up. You read X-Men and you're going, it's just going to end up leading to Krakoa, which nobody has liked, and they have persisted.
People
with
have liked it. That's the thing. That's the thing that great. That, and
Very
I'll
strange.
ask people. I'm like, because I remember, and God bless him, good friend, was like, yeah, this is the most like Claremont. I'm like, Claremont doesn't agree with you on that. I've talked to him, and I'm like, what makes these characters are just not even the same characters anymore. I remember like, and that's one of the things that drives me crazy is when people are like, oh, the old comics is all about nostalgia. No, Claremont stuff is really good. Newsflash, I started reading that when I was in college in my 20s. And then I was reading House and Powers of X when it was coming out, and I was like, well, at first I like House and Powers of X, and I'll tell you why. Because I thought, I knew that there was going to be some mind control or something going on. There's no way that, of course, the X-Men wouldn't willingly do this. That would be like totally out of character. There's no, because I had heard all these things that like, oh, comics have gotten crazy, but I don't think I realized the full extent of it until I'm reading that, and I'm like, oh my God. They really have gotten insane. And that's the thing. I think Jonathan Hickman is a good writer, but I think he destroyed the X-Men beyond the point of no return. And people will say, oh, Hickman lost his vision. Dude, but he made Cyclops a cuck and Wolverine a cuck. Like, what?
Yeah. and you can attribute some of that, I think, to editorial directioning behind the scenes. But for me, I had already kind of noped out of the mainstream comics. I was brought into, what was going on in comics by guys like John Della Rose and Ethan Van Sciver and a couple of others. And like, hey, this is not the comics that you grew up on. It's not being made by the same people. And, they're essentially demanded to play with the things that you enjoyed, when you were younger. And now you're watching them break them and you can't do anything about it.
It's sad.
And they insist that you stay in their sandbox and play by their rules and enjoy what they're doing. Otherwise, you won't play. Well, no, we're going to go over here and we're going to make our own sandbox and we're going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
And if they try to set foot in it and make demands of you, no, don't kneel. That's the most important part. Because like Razorfist always says, a cancel culture is a participation sport. If you do not participate in it, then you are not going to, you're not going to allow yourself to be canceled. So, and to me, the indie way of doing things is better anyway, because in the indie spaces, the most, the golden standard that you are trading in is authenticity and genuineness. And the more genuine and authentic that you are, the more people will recognize that and, kind of come to your side and say, I know what they're doing and I believe in what they're doing. That's why we call it the Iron Age, because it's stronger than, it's not as pretty as steel. It's not as pretty as gold or silver, but it is stronger than they are. Because
that's good. That's a good point. All right. Yeah. I never really thought about it that much. But that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, because it's like being forced to be my own marketing team and do that's the thing. I think I'm frustrated that the book is taking this long, because I was like, with Claremont, I was like, I'll be able to get some stuff out on a monthly basis. And what you realize is you can't have it all, right? If you're going to be completely independent and own it all, that comes with the trade back of, okay, you might not make as much to start, but you will be able to own your stuff. And, that's the trade-off you get. But ultimately, I think it'll be worth it. But everything worth fighting for takes time, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I have to realize is I'm to be fair. I mean, here's the thing. People don't realize, like, oh, Vaughn made this much money in 12 days. This was not 12 days of work. This was a lot more than 12 days of work.
You did a lot more behind the scenes for a lot longer than this has been out there. And I think that's a good thing, because in indie comics, there is occasionally this stigma that pops up about people ordering books and them not getting to them in a very timely manner. I'm the kind of person that if I took someone's money for something and I didn't have something to hand them immediately, I feel guilty for a long time. Like,
which is why those people should you should work, and which is why when I have that money, I know, like, okay, it's my job to get it to you. And I pay attention when I back. It's like if I back someone and I know they're not working hard to get my product out to me, it bothers me, because especially now that I'm a creator, I have even less respect for that, because it's like I I have over 156 people that are waiting on me to deliver this. Right.
Good luck, Bob.
It is my obligation to deliver. And obviously I'm not the thing, and that's why initially I was gonna have the book mostly done. But what happened was I was doing the math. I was like, let's say I'm gonna be campaigning for like 2 months. Well, during that time, I'm gonna be working on it.
Yeah.
So I could either sit on it for 2 months and have it take longer. It would actually take longer if I did that, because then I'm just sitting on finished work for 2 months.
Yeah, I think as long as you're sending regular updates and letting them know, hey, this is where it's at, it's going to be in the instant, people will, generally understand, that they're waiting maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long it takes to finish it. The fact that you've got the book mostly finished is probably very heartening to a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I've been using up too many Post-its. Hold on, I'm gonna send out an email update today. Actually, I'll say 40 pages.
Go ahead there.
40 pages done, 10K read. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. 10K reach, 40 pages colored. There you go. Okay, 50. Yeah, but there we go. The book is mostly done. And that's exciting. My colorist is actually starting to is getting close to catching up to my inker. So it's like, hey, just letting you know. And I'm like, but here it's like sometimes I won't hear from my artist for like a couple days, then suddenly he drops just like beautiful stuff on me, and I'm like, all right. I know it's cool is he's getting like after a period of time, he's getting to like the first real. I don't want to say real superhero action because obviously you see some, but it's kind of like the origin story. So like now we're seeing him in his makeshift costume kicking ass, and it's been great. It's been great.
That's great. It is good. Now, did you do that thing where you wait until like the end of the comic for him to be in his superhero outfit?
Yeah, and even then, his makeshift costume. If you notice, it's a makeshift costume in issue 1, and I decided that I wanted one of the things, and I get this isn't like me trying too hard to make it different. It's more so what you have to realize is when you're doing something.
That's right.
Inherently. Yeah, but his makeshift costume, the design also has like a helmet and a mask here in the actual comic, but I let the artists kind of do their own thing. Even Rini is like, I'd rather just draw the hair. And I'm like, okay, you can just draw the hair. It seems like a lot of people don't. The helmet is just for the makeshift costume.
Yeah.
And so Rini is going to change up that art so she can draw the flowing hair.
Great hair. Got to admit, great hair.
Yeah.
Never count good long flowing hair. It looks great on covers.
Yeah, exactly. So they
and on pro wrestlers.
Yeah. So
unless you're Baron Corbin, in which case it was a net negative. Did you watch pro wrestling?
Never got into it.
Okay. There was a wrestler named Baron Corbin, and he was highly balding. But he kept his hair long when he first got there, and it looked like the symbiote was trying to latch onto his scalp in most pictures. It was just pathetic. And finally, he did, get the message and shave it all off. And I'm like, good, thank goodness.
Yeah, my dad was when he started going bald, he was like, nope, taking it off. Yeah, there is. Yeah, so
good transition, by the way, because I did want to ask you about this.
Yeah.
This dedicated to your dad part.
Yeah, so when I was writing this story, I was really reaching down to the core of it was a couple of things. It was one of the things was I felt like my character was kind of missing a certain it factor. Well, he had it, but it was like it wasn't. It was missing something, and I looked back and I was like, well, all these okay, so he's a kid that gets bullied at school. Like, okay, I think the character is interesting, but like he's missing something. That really he's missing that tragedy or that something that most of these characters have. Peter Parker lost Uncle Ben, Bruce Wayne lost his parents, and I had hinted at that the dad died, but I didn't really dive into it. I was like, well, why not? And honestly, part of it was that I didn't want it to be too similar to me, and I'm like, well, people are already going to call it a self-insert anyway, so I was like, all right, what makes her a better story? And I thought about it, and then I also simultaneously was going down to the core of, okay, why is this genre so important to me? Why does it mean so much to me? And obviously there's the obvious answers, right? That heroism is inspiring, that heroism is great. Also that we just love seeing great lore and superheroes and the massive pantheon of characters. We love the colorful costumes, we like the distinct identity, all those things, right? But I was like, okay, let's get more personal. Why does it mean so much to me? What mindset was I in when I first discovered superheroes? And what I found was by digging, I kind of dug into my own past, and I was like, well, when I was a little kid, I lost my dad in 9/11. And superheroes I discovered, not long after that. And they kind of gave me this hope, this sense of justice, because I had just like the people who killed my dad were still out there, and I had this just angry cry for justice. And I also was missing a male role model and a father figure, and I needed someone to kind of. They gave me everything I needed. They gave me a sense of an escapism. They gave me an empowerment. They gave me a sense that, hey, there are superheroes. There are people that can go through a great tragedy like what you went through and use it as an excuse to be better and to help others and make the world a better place so no one else has to suffer that tragedy. Peter loses his Uncle Ben, and so he decides to fight so that way other people don't lose their Uncle Bens or their whatever. Batman loses his parents, so he makes the world a better place. And also it was just a comforting idea knowing that people would punish bad people like the ones that killed my dad, that people would exact justice. And so it felt like it gave me and they would teach great morals. And it felt like it was everything I needed at the time. And it sparked a love in me that just will never die. And so I've had this idea for this particular story, although it's evolved. Thank God it's evolved since I was in second grade. I felt like that's what inspired it. And I really wanted to find that spark and carry it with me, which is actually in issue 2. You'll see there's a part where he's like, I got to find the spark that allows me to control my powers better. And he thinks back to his dad. And I was like, okay, that was revealed. So I'm going to have to rewrite issue 2 because I decided, well, why do I wait till issue 2 to reveal this? Let's reveal this in issue 1 and make the character more. If we're getting introduced to him, let's fully get introduced to everything and not play it up as a reveal. Let's keep that his central motivation. And so I would keep rewriting. I spent more time rewriting issue 1 than I've written the first, 8 issues. I spent more time on probably the first 20 pages of issue 1 than on all the others combined, because starting a story is so goddamn hard. But once I get it going, like I would be able to write an issue in a day. Like once I got an action sequence going, I wrote like one issue in an entire day, because it's like once all the pieces are set up, the chess pieces or whatever, and now it's like the villain's doing this, the hero's doing, like once you set all that up, it becomes so much easier. But I'm creating something bigger, and that's what it came from. But yeah, I had decided that I wanted to dedicate it. I decided I wanted to include the dad as part of the backstory. And I was like, well, and I'm going to base this character off of my dad. He's the one character that it's like more than others. I was like, I want him to look like my dad. My mom was like, make him a hero, I want him to be larger than life. And it had already made sense that there was a World War III backdrop. And I decided ultimately, even though my mom had initially suggested a superhero, I wanted him to be an everyday hero. A man just an average man who stepped up to the plate when the world was at war and then stepped up afterward. After the war was over, I wanted it to be that his dad aided in construction and fixing the world. And so he became financially successful because he was helping make the world a better place and taking up leadership both during and after the war, always rising to the occasion. And so I wanted him to have a dad that leaves behind lessons for him to learn and inspires him to be a better man. And I felt it made my main character so much better, and it gave the story a much better beating heart. And obviously, I was going to dedicate the story to my dad.
That's awesome, man. And you have my condolences on losing your dad. It looked like he was a great guy.
Yeah.
I actually lost my uncle this week as well.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he had a heart attack. He was also a pretty damn good hero in his own right. He was a Desert Storm and Iraq-Afghanistan veteran.
God bless him.
And come to find out, it was a heart attack that did it. He found out he had cancer not too long ago, about a month or so ago. He was set to start treatment, but the coroner said it was a cardiac event. It was just he went in his sleep at home. We should all be so lucky, but we're going to help the family do some arrangements today. But props to your dad.
Oh, thank you for taking the time, man, to even do this.
Oh, yeah, this is no problem. It's no problem at all. Good picture right here, too, I got to say, man. You're a cute little baby.
Yeah.
Got that nice – I know people don't see my hair too much because it's all going away. I used to be that blonde.
Oh, yeah?
When I was a kid. Man, our hair was very similar, that Ric Flair platinum blonde. Mm-hmm. It got darker as I got older, though. But
my dad had blonde hair as a kid, and then it got darker, and then it got away. But my dad started going bald. He was like, no, we're not salvaging it. It's gone. So hopefully I don't lose my. Apparently it skipped a generation because like I love that was very good looking, but I would like to keep my hair personally. You know but you know what's funny actually is so all right. So my good friends. I don't know if you know Rini.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, so she was defining her book, and the chat started going, "If it makes this much, Vaughn shaves his hair." I'm like, "Why would I do that for her camp?" And then I'm like, "I'm not doing it for mine either." But people are like, "There should be a stretch goal where I shave my head." And I'm like, "Absolutely not, absolutely not."
Hold on, so you don't want to tempt it to leave and not come back.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, well, then am I selling based on merit or based on public humiliation?
That's actually a very good point. You know,
like,
it's fun for
300 copies. I'm just like,
if I sell 500 copies, you can throw stuff at me on the internet.
Yeah, you can throw tomatoes at me.
Good morning,
like, did you enjoy the book? I don't know. I didn't read it. I paid for you to
Good
go
to
home.
see you. I paid to humiliate the author. I didn't buy actually take the book.
Yeah, I just like threw that shit in the trash. I don't know.
Good to see you, sir. Kirby, thank you for joining us this morning.
How you doing? Kirby, by the way, was very upset in the chat at the new Moogle designs when I was playing the new Final Fantasy VII. He was like, "Those are whoever designed those needs to be fired. Those are awful." I'm like,
they have new designs.
Fine. Apparently, I thought they looked fine, but Kirby was very upset. Hang
on, I gotta look this up.
Look up FF7. You let me know as a longer time fan because I didn't discover Final Fantasy really. I mean, I had heard of it, but like I didn't really get into it 7 until.
I mean, usually the Moogle design did not change much from.
I thought it looked the same, just updated, but he was very upset. Kirby. The new designs because I guess they look too fuzzy.
No, I don't want to look at that. Let me see. Hold on. Open image in new tab. Got it. Okay, so I'm trying to magnify the image. Here we go. Let me share. Is that it?
No, that's not it.
That's not it. Okay.
Okay, so now I understand his frustration because the new Moogles don't look like that at all.
I'm trying to find it.
Here, let me. Okay, yeah, it is definitely a redesign. Okay, yeah, no, I can understand now. These look nothing like that.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What the? They look like koala bears.
Yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, because I would always see it in 2D graphics, but now I'm looking at it, it really does not look anything like.
Okay, hold on. Let me share. Yeah. The audience knows what we're talking about.
I don't know. I hope Kirby didn't leave, but yeah, they look like koala bears. Yeah,
I got. You know what? I'm gonna side with Kirby. This looks shitty. This does not look like Moogles. This looks like a koala bear with a plush, some kind of flower growing out of its head. I don't look like a Moogle at all. I don't like it. What the hell, man? You don't fix what ain't broken.
No, you don't. And that's the thing that they do a lot. Dude, I remember when I was getting into comics in the New 52. And they were deciding just as I was getting into comics, they were like, yeah, like, you know how like Martian Manhunter has been like a Justice League member from the beginning? He's not anymore. I'm like, what? And it's like, oh yeah, Cyborg is a founding member instead of Martian Manhunter because like fuck that.
You are breaking up again.
Oh, I am.
You're
all right,
breaking up again. Look, while you fix that, I'm gonna put us on a break real quick and go hit the restroom, and I'm gonna come right back. Just give us a second, folks. All right, I've come back real quick. While Vaughn fixes his little audio issues, I will go ahead.
Is it better now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I don't know why your microphone's messing with your internet speed, but that's what's happening. Devil's Air says nowadays it's heroism. We almost do not get males anymore. Okay, don't mess with the microphone. Leave me alone. Okay, there we go. It's the hero's journey. There has been a lot of push of more female-centric heroes, and the problem is they write them like men, and that is not something that really works all that well, unless you really know what you're doing. And from my perspective, they really don't know what they're doing.
It's not even just that they write them like men; they write them worse because they don't know. It's like they write them. They want to use the backdrop of, oh well, it's a woman and you're sexist, and it's like you don't have to use those excuses as male character. Like they use it as an excuse to write crappier characters.
That's why I was arguing with some other comic fans last night about what's his name, Duke Winston from the Black Panther movies wanting to be Batman. I'm like, that's what they ultimately want to go for. They kind of want to either race or sex swap legacy heroes, and they think that the mantle is good enough in order to do it. Like they did that with calling Clark Kent's son Superman. It don't work like that. They call it X-23 Wolverine, and
I hate. I remember that was one of the moments where I was like walking away from, because I had heard that there was a lot of intrusive politics, but then a lot of people assured me that it's just a minority. I'm like, okay, well, I'm reading the mainline X-Men comic, and there's this moment where X-23 goes, "I'm Wolverine now," and then Wolverine goes, "You tell him, girl," as if it's talking to the audience, and I'm like. Dude, what? I'm like, this is the highest selling book, and I'm supposed to believe this is just a vocal minority of comics. It's not. And it's like, Wolverine wouldn't do that. He'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm Wolverine. I'm the best at what I do. Like, Wolverine would not
it's all about the
validate
issue
your
of
little
perception.
views.
It's about the issue of perception. When you ask a normie who's not invested in comic books and has only seen like the movies, what are they going to think when you say, who is Wolverine? Oh, Logan, obviously. Who is Spider-Man? Peter Parker. Who is Batman? Bruce Wayne. These characters have inhabited these roles for over 60 to 80 years. You don't get to just do a lazy palette swap.
You don't.
And then all of a sudden you get all the prestige. Like even with Miles Morales, who's probably one of the more contentious characters that comics argues about. Miles has only been here for about roughly 15 years. And in that time he's had one good movie, one so-so movie. And meanwhile, Peter's had like 7-8 films. You've had
hundreds of issues.
Hundreds and hundreds of issues. Even when somebody else was Spider-Man, it was a temporary measure. It was, something different for a little while, and then Peter always comes back. And the Miles fans get so ass mad that you don't jump out of your seat and declare him king of all Spider people.
Right.
And they get so defensive over him not being Spider-Man. He's not perceived as Spider-Man because he just got here. To me, he's a Spider-Man, but he's not the Spider-Man. He's not the defining character. You have character. You don't get a character's legacy just because you take their name. That takes time. You people can accept that Barry West and what's the other
Wally
guy's
West?
name?
You mean Wally? You're confused. You said Barry West instead of Barry Allen and Wally West.
Wally are both Flash because
Barry was dead.
Yeah, Barry was dead. They did replace him. You end up having different characters take that role. But what works for the Flash doesn't necessarily work for Spider-Man. Okay, what works for Green Lantern doesn't always work for other characters of that nature. Of course, Green Lantern is a title that other characters inhabit.
Of course, the better Miles with electric power is totally not intentional. It was my Miles, of course.
Right.
My character, Miles. The thing is, there won't be another Galvanite. Like, that's why. So he's inspired by the heroes that came before him, but doesn't take on their names in this particular context because I just want him to be his own thing. But I did decide ultimately when I was revising the character's name, Galvanite. It was a name I had come up with, but then I was like, oh, I'll have him be inspired by the knight in shining armor character. So even though he wears a makeshift costume in issue 1, because I personally felt as I was writing it that it logically didn't make sense at this point in the story for him to have a cool costume. And I actually felt that thematically that worked because it's like he's really going to earn his costume. So whereas in most comics, the main character, even though it becomes harder to market because he doesn't have a really cool costume yet, and it becomes harder to have that iconography right out the gate. I feel like him earning it is going to be more satisfying and just makes more sense. And plus, it's okay because you'll be introduced to the rest of the team. They'll all be in costumes. And there is this frustration where it's like, but my main character can't be in those group shots with his costume. And it's like, well, if anything, that frustration would add to it and make me have to write through it for him to get to that point. But also, as I was kind of trying to like skip to that, I was like, well, what are all these beats I want to hit? And I was like, well, these are a lot of good beats I could hit on his journey to get there. Let's stay here a while. And so that was kind of what it, okay, like, yeah, it is frustrating, but all these beats of the frustration, all these like story beats that I'd be like, well, he needs to do this, this, and this, and this. How do I skip over that? I was like, what if I don't? What if I just, what if I really have him earn that costume? And it kind of became like earning the right to be a superhero. And I liked that.
I do too. I really like that kind of earning it aspect when it comes to the heroes, because that's a story element. It's a story beat that a lot of heroes, but in fantasy, you've got that as well. You've got to earn the right to be called a hero, with what you're doing. And, it takes great deeds. It takes recognition, and it takes, swallowing down your fear and becoming fearless in the face of overwhelming odds to, overcome that. That's why, people harp on superhero comics. You can call them what you want, but they are a modern day mythology.
Right.
They are essentially modern day versions of stories that were told for generations about, extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. And this is where I think a lot of the modern contemporary writers kind of drop the ball on it, because they just kind of see it as a sandbox they can dick around in and do whatever they want with, and you end up with crap like The Boys. And believe me, I'm not a fan of The Boys.
I liked season 1, and then it got more and more partisan.
That didn't help, but I'm kind of over this concept of, what if Superman was a murdering asshole?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Even in the Injustice comics, it was when I was getting into comics. Even then, it was already getting old.
Yeah, it was just tired, and everybody's chasing that gray morality and sucking the dick of Alan Moore's Watchmen decades after that came out.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of a little over that as well.
I mean, that's
much prefer the story of a hero sticking to their convictions as the world tries to make them be worse.
Yes, that is perfect, and that's exactly what I'm going for with this comic. So this main villain, I won't spoil it, but as I was developing him further, he's the opposite of her protagonist in a lot of ways. He doesn't have powers, but he has a lot of experience. And my main character has powers, but not experience. My main villain has experience, but not powers. He's prepared. He's got all this technology, but he doesn't have powers. Whereas my character just has powers and none of that special technology. He doesn't even have a functioning costume. My main villain, I won't spoil much about him, but he's very much cynical. He's very much, everyone is out for themselves. The world is not some idealistic place. Your ideals don't survive here. You have to do what it takes to survive and get what you want. My main character is, yes, the world is beating up on me. Yes, there are mistakes, but there are ideals that you can't let people take from you. And it's my character, through being conflicted with a harsh reality, has to realize that he can't be a blind idealist, but still, and then a postmodernist writer would say he can't be an idealist. I say, no, he can't be a blind idealist. He can't be an idiot about it. But there is those ideals he has to hold on to just to be smart and forge himself into being strong enough to withhold those ideals and carry them forward. And that's what I wanted to do. So we're going to learn that at the hands of one of the heroes in World War III and at the hands of his teammates. So you will see the team Phenomenova, and you will see one of the veteran World War III heroes that will say, hey, no, these ideals, you can still hold on to them. You can still fight with them, but we're going to forge you so that way you can. Whereas the villains are like, no, we don't believe in that. And that's what I wanted to harp on.
Yeah, that's good. That's the thing that makes Superman such a great character, in where a lot of contemporary writers don't understand him, is they want to put him up against impossible situations and then see what he does. What he should do is hold true to his ideals and convictions and figure out a way to save the day while staying true to those. They want to push him into stand him up next to a dirty ditch and then force him to jump into the dirty ditch instead of, jump over it or do anything else. Talented writers would be able to figure out a way to make Superman interesting. I think one of my favorite arguments that pops up on comics Twitter is that picture of Superman stopping the train from hitting the kid.
Yeah.
And everybody's argument is, why doesn't he just pick up the kid? Why does he have to do? If you have to ask that question, you don't get comic books. You don't get why that is such a dynamic, interesting, and compelling image. And what comic it's
What,
the
because he's
essence of what
stopping
comics
it?
are about.
Because he's stopping it, you mean?
Yeah, because he's stopping it. It's a dynamic, interesting,
Yeah.
and powerful image. It's symbolic. They don't understand that. They're trying to apply too much real world thought process to a comic book.
Mhm.
And you do have to maintain that sense of suspension of disbelief, because that's part of an essence. Because this is not real life. This is a story, and so you tell it with story elements.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Someone can't back your comic, Coleman, but you have my axe. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know everyone can. And listen, it'll be available too. Like, so that's the thing. The main cover will be available for a while. I'll have it on my website. You won't. The mini print is you'll have to back it. But yeah, I'll make sure backers get exclusives. But eventually, I hope you'll be able to get it. If not,
Looks like the trading card sold out. So
well, it didn't sell out. I should clarify. So it was a day one trading card, but I think for the 30th day, I'll bring it back to purchase. So it was everyone who backed within the first 24 hours got a trading card free. And then if you wanted to buy additional ones, you could. I think for day 30, as a closeout of the funding on Fund My Comic, I'll bring that back for another 24 hours so people can buy it. So that way, all the day one people are still special because they got a free trading card. But if you want to spend $5 and get it, go ahead.
That's awesome, man. And look, for just where we go up here, $20, you get just that. You can get the main cover.
Yeah. And
main
I'll
comic.
sign it for free if I see you in person or if you bring it to a con. But if you want it signed when it arrives, that means I have to go to the fulfillment center. So that's $5. But if you back any tier and you just spend $5 extra, I'll sign whatever you want. If you want me to sign the trading card, I'll do that. If you want me to sign the mini print, I'll do that. Just let me know, specify when you're checking out what you want signed. Even if you do the $1,000 tier, if you pay that extra $5, I will literally sign everything if you ask me to. For $5. So I figure if you're willing to spend $1,000, you could spend $5. But yeah, so if you look at the tiers, it's $20 for the main cover. I wanted it to be a little cheaper than but then $25 for each variant, and each variant is campaign exclusive. And then obviously there's all the combinations with it. You can get a main plus a variant, a main plus two variants, three variants, all four covers. And then all four is $95. And then for just $20 more, you get a poster of the main cover for an 11x17 poster of the main cover.
Oh, cool. I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer that you have here.
Sounds good.
And hope that it's not going to give me a copyright strike like some trailers have. But wait, hold on. Share this.
Right, Devil's Air, I'd love to see if I can get it on Amazon. We will see. I definitely will. It'll be on my website. I'm not sure if it'll be on Amazon yet. I eventually plan on putting it on Amazon. I want it to be at every avenue possible. I think crowdfunding is a good starting tool, although this is really more of a pre-order than a crowdfund. But yeah.
All right. Let me know if you can't hear this. Okay.
Sounds good.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way.
Raise the volume a little
for
bit.
something new, something greater.
What's that?
Oh, I think someone just saying raise volume. Well, I think everyone could just turn up their own volume. Yeah, everyone just turn up.
I've got my volume all the way up.
Yeah, everyone just turn up your own volume. I think it's fine. Sorry, didn't mean
to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.
Great trailer, man. I
Thank
do
you.
think the volume was like a little low, but I can still hear what was going on.
That's good.
Hitting at the heartstrings there at the end, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I that's what I was going for.
Instead, I'm probably going to dig into my book funds and back this just because I don't want to miss out on this.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids were asking about it, so I'm like, let them. I want to get them into some comics a little bit. I caught my daughter reading a graphic novel of Gravity Falls that my oldest had, and well, she's willing to read that. Maybe she'll read something else. I was looking at like Common America and trying to find some stuff that's all ages appropriate.
Yeah, this is all ages appropriate.
So
that was actually something that would kind of came naturally as I was writing it. I remember one time my editor was like, "You should have him say like, oh, or whatever when he loses his power," and I was like, "No." Because this is, and that's when you someone asks you a question and you have a strong no, then it reinforces, oh, so then I guess subconsciously this is for kids. There will be darker stuff in this world. Like the World War III stuff is probably going to be violent, right? That story is going to be violent, but that prequel storyline. But this one I want to keep at least for now coming. And if I ever decided to go in a darker direction, I'd put a warning or something. But this is an all ages book. Your kids can read it.
No, I think that's important, and I think that's needed. It's a point that my friend Royce from the channel A Drink with Crazy, who's very big into not just the Iron Age, but promoting really good independent creators, he's made this point about more needing more stuff that is all ages, because I mean you think about it, like Lord of the Rings is one of those popular literature books of all time, and it's considered all ages. It has a lot of darker elements. It has, death and war and things like that, but it's considered all ages just in how it's presented. It's not too much,
Right.
For a younger audience. And, some guys I've noticed in the indie spaces tend to take their approach is they're just going to make their edgy version of whatever
character,
whatever superhero or special ops team that they have. And I've seen some stuff that's kind of crossed into over a line that I don't particularly care for, especially when it comes to like the graphic violence. And I'm like, this really ain't for me. Not that I'm a prude or anything, because I've read violent stuff before, but depending on the depiction, it can kind of turn me off a little bit, depending on what it is.
Yeah, I get me in contact with some of these people if you can. I'd love to definitely go on those shows. That's the thing. You got every opportunity is a good opportunity to promote, especially if someone's looking. If I know people that are looking for that and want to promote that, I'd love to.
Oh yeah, Royce does a show called Iron Age Nights, and it's a panel show. He does it every Friday. I'll get in touch with you on that, because you have to fill out a form ahead of time, because unfortunately I was the guest that had to flake on him one Friday evening because my cover for my book was not ready and it got delayed by a couple of months. So they kind of had to he kind of had to restructure his stuff and say, okay, this kind of put us in a bind, unfortunately. And I hate that I did that. So you gotta sign up for his show now, thanks to me.
I ruined it for everyone.
Yeah, I ruined it for everyone. But no, I'll get in touch. I'll get you in touch with him, because he's real big about that. He would love this. I know he would love this. I'm surprised you're not already on his radar.
I hadn't. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You think like, oh, someone knows everything. I have a list of 30 something people's shows to get, and honestly, you can be surprised by sometimes like the bigger shows I get on. I don't get any backers or many, and then sometimes I'll be on a smaller channel that I barely heard of, and then that leads to like 5. Like one like I remember I did like one last, like I kind of decided like, yeah, I'll get on this show, and then I got like 5 backers during, like it's weird. I'll go through, like one day I was on like 2 big shows and then I didn't get that many backers, and then one day I was on 2 smaller shows and then I got backers. You never know. It just sometimes you have to catch someone in the right moment, but you got to get on every show, because you really
it's about engagement. It really is, rather than follower count. Which is one thing I'm very fortunate with my Twitter account, that I've got a lot of people that follow me on Twitter, and they're very engaged with my account, course, I'm very engaged with treating my Twitter account like a mosh pit where I go out there, I wake up in the morning and I choose violence and I start swinging. So I'm a little bit of entertainment value to some folks, but it is what it is. And that's just that the Twitter game that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
you got to come out of the gate swinging in order to kind of get on people's radars. But I maybe about a year or so ago kind of made the transition on my YouTube channel from just pop culture commentary, a lot of the stuff that like the Geeks and Gamers crew was doing, which I was like, that's working for them. Let me try that. And then I just started to notice over time there was a need for a platform for indie creators, whether it's comic books, tabletop games, and whether that's super successful or not. To me, it's still needed. There's still
Definitely.
that is still more important, I think, than having more creators making more books, because that's where the fans are tuning in.
Right.
That's where we need the newer versions of these old school platforms. We can't be begging old school platforms to platform us, because they're not going to.
They're not going to. You can't. That's one of the things I've learned more and more is you there's sometimes people like, because you may think because I remember, like, for example, like you can't reason with everyone. Sometimes you just have to just lead by example, and if someone's going about it the wrong way, you sometimes just have to walk away and hope that one day they'll turn around and follow you. It's one of the things I've learned.
Yeah. And if you're setting a good example, at the very least, look, you can say a lot of things about me, on Twitter. I'm an asshole. I'm opinionated. I can get contentious. But when it comes to the indie spaces, I'm fully supportive. I want all indie creators to be able to succeed and rise, both on their own merits and with others who are supporting them as well. This is cathartic for me. I enjoy doing this more than just talking about like the latest Star Wars or Marvel.
Yeah, I got sick of it, honestly. I know that gets more views, but it's like, dude, I just stopped giving it attention. I'm really just sick of it.
I'm over it. And you want to know how bad that is, because I was a Star Wars and Marvel fan for decades. Like, dude, I read through all of the expanded universe novels. I read the comics. And for them to turn it into something that is so uninteresting and bland, like, I'm past the anger part. I'm at apathy.
That's where I'm, and that's honestly the worst thing it could be. I don't even care anymore about a lot of stuff that comes out that I would be over the moon about. If you told me if you went back and told me from 10 years ago that, yeah, Vaughn, you don't really even care about some of this, it'd be amazing.
It's hard to care about it.
Because it's like, okay, let's say I start to care again, then they'll pull the rug out from me. And it's sad, but it's like, it's the truth. Like, I know I'll get excited only for the rug to get pulled out. Sad.
Oh, yeah, I know. Andrew Knapp asking, what's the biggest issue you have found on the software side when it comes to distributing your work?
Software?
I'm guessing how we distribute.
I haven't distributed anything yet for me, so I can't. I'll let you know when I get there.
Oh, he says, I'm a software dev and it's live to find a way to help the Iron Age. I think maybe he's talking about like building platforms like websites and things like that. I can tell you the biggest, I'd love to find a way to help the Iron Age. I mean, honestly, what we don't really have, one of the things about the Iron Age, Vaughn, and the indie spaces in general, is that it's kind of gone back in time to where the internet was before the advent of social media, which is it's decentralized.
That's my biggest thing too, is that it's like you have to hunt everyone else. And even for example, Amazon, I could put 5 things in my cart and I'll have to pay 5 different shippings. If I want 5 different comics from 5 different creators in Iron Age or whatever you want to call it, that's what, like $50 of shipping extra, which I could have gotten a couple extra books for that money.
That's true. And it does kind of come with a bit of a price in that, like, I am fully supportive of indie comics, but my wallet is nowhere near as big as my heart, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I had to I put a call out on my channel. I said, look, guys, I can't buy as many comics as I want. The least I can do, if you want someone to review them. Yeah. So I've got indie comics that I need to review still. I started doing some, but since my son started trading school, and I've just kind of been out of a lot of time, a lot of creative spaces. So I got to get on that. I'll probably do one today, actually.
That's cool. Yeah, maybe I should be like, hey guys, I'm a certified reviewer. Send me free stuff.
Well, I mean, heads up, you're gonna have to clickbait it a little bit. I have to change my approach to it because putting review in your stuff, like, I don't know why, but it doesn't seem to know where to send your stuff out. So
that's weird.
I'm gonna have to clickbait it and like, why you should read this, or was this any
new
good?
comic?
Yeah,
this made me go crazy, like something like that.
I can't do the wide open mouth thumbnail, man. It kills me because it's so please no, it's so cringy. I can't do it.
But it probably gets views.
It works, and I hate that it works. But
just like the soy boy face.
Oh God, I hate it too, and it does work.
I hate that I'm good at it. At least
some of the other guys do use somebody else's face and use like the Photoshop tear rolling down their face. Hollywood is destroyed, and Brie Larson crying.
There's only so many thumbnails. Like there's only so many thumbnails. Yeah, you do. They are eye-catching thumbnails, but it is.
It unfortunately works. Back to the point I was making, the decentralization. We are conditioned to be, we're conditioned to kind of be, come on, coffee, kick in. We're conditioned to that centralization. We go on Facebook, we're going on Twitter, we're on YouTube, but you do end up having to cast that wide net. That's where I am I'm simul streaming on X and Twitter. Twitter, YouTube, Rumble. I've got accounts on Facebook, Minds, Twitter, Truth. I think I'm on Blue Sky, even though it's boring as shit over there. Nothing going on. Nobody over there. Everybody that's over there is already still on Twitter, by the way. And you have to cast out that wide net, and it's a lot more work on your end, but it does kind of end up paying off because to me, if I get one backer or one buyer for the book, at least on one of those other platforms, it's still going to help.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We're conditioned to be centralized in our thinking. We're having everything in one place. And the Iron Age and the indie space are just much more decentralized. And it's taking a lot of time for people to kind of come to terms with that. And a lot of people don't find that appealing.
Yeah. And I get it. I'm trying to make things as easy as I can for customers. But the start is getting my stuff off the ground. And I've talked with Rini and all of them, and I think I'll continue to on trying to make something where it's easy for us to get our books out to people. I think having a website where, because a shared distributor or something like that would be great. Garfield Adventure super chatted me. I'm not sure if it shows up on your side.
I think you can share it here, and I can put it up. You have to click present either slides or video file. If it's just a straight picture, it has to be like.
Well, it has to be a PNG. Super chat didn't come in through the.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you didn't spend. You could have spent that on the campaign, Garfield. But thank you so much.
Yeah, that's your super chat, by the way. You take that.
I'm looking forward to backing Phenomenova. Thank you, man. Yeah. Like I said, so it's 20 for the main book and 25 for the variants. But I hope you're back. I'll take the $10 anyway, but thank you.
It looks fantastic. This is one that I'm going to be backing.
I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm probably going to dig in. I've got a separate bank account for like all the money that comes in from like book sales and YouTube and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I saved that. That's going to fund my next book, but I'll probably dig in because I'm between checks and use a little bit just to back this because I want this. I know I think my kids probably want to get their hands on it. And I'll tell them not to trash it though.
Sounds good.
Do what I can, but with that, guys, look, we've been going for about an hour, 40 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll call the stream right about here. But thank you to everybody that has dropped by.
And if you're interested in that Final Fantasy VII video essay, check out my channel. It's just Vaugh Coleman. I'll post the link. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Go ahead. I'll give you the last little bit to go ahead and sell whatever you got to sell, man.
Yeah, so obviously Phenomenova you've been seeing. There's all the socials on there, whether it be my personal is Vaughn Coleman or there's Rebel Oasis Studios. Follow all the socials. My YouTube channel is just my name, Vaughn Coleman. So make sure to subscribe to that. We just passed 800 subscribers. Hopefully, right after this interview, I'm going to get to work on this video essay and finally, I think, put it to rest. I also have been streaming the new Final Fantasy VII. But this 2-hour video essay, if you're at all interested, will be coming out hopefully tomorrow. So, Vaughn, did you fix your mic during gameplay? Kirby asked. Oh, Kirby, you missed us. I don't know if you saw us talking about the new Moogle design but John is with you. He's upset by it too.
Yeah, that new Moogle design sucks ass.
I don't know. I don't know if I fixed my mic or not. I guess we'll have to figure it out, Kirby. I don't know. Every time I think I fixed it, because for now everyone just has to turn up their volume because apparently my mic is thing. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll troubleshoot tonight. But yeah,
I agree. I agree. It looks like a koala bear with a flower glued to its head.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah, I'm with you, man. That's silly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. At first I didn't mind it, but I also wasn't like as attached. But now that I'm looking at it side by side with the old one, I'm like, yeah, that's just not a Moogle.
It's not.
Also, I don't know if you saw, but I was. If you go back and watch the footage the last time I was playing, there's like I'm struggling with a Moogle minigame, and I'm just so angry because it was so bad. Like it was such a pain. And then the worst part is when they hit you with this move, they start dancing on you, and I'm like, oh my god!
Oh,
and
the taunting.
It was so frustrating.
I was
trying to make
that
it
way with
cute, and I'm like, it's not cute. It's annoying. I mean, it's kind of cute.
That's how it was with the mini games in the first game. I'm like, this is so unnecessary. Why do I have to do this borderline stealth mini game? Why do I have to do this cave hopping Cubert style mini game? Let me just grind my levels, get to the end of the dungeon, and hit the boss because I'm like always 5 levels higher than I need to be.
Yeah.
That's why I play JRPGs. I don't play it for these
oh my god,
mini game shenanigans.
The worst one, at least on PC, you could tell it was not designed for PC, is the one where you have to do the marching band and get the moves right, and I just couldn't. I was
watching J Moles play that, and he was getting frustrated with that.
It's impossible. The new game also there's like a multiple like dance. There's like a whole dance number. They like made a whole thing out of it, but the new one at least it was kind of fun. But I got a very bad score on that one, if I remember correctly. Like because they have live news commentators, like they really upped it, and they're like, "Wow, they really did not do a good job." I'm like, "I'm trying my best." They would really rub it in your face that I was bad.
Yeah, I as long as I could just pass and get to the part of the game I actually want to play, then I don't care.
Oh,
then I don't care.
I kept getting there's like a piano mini game. I kept getting a. Let me actually write that down. Because the thing is, I'm like this far into the game. I'm doing like all the side stuff, so it's like I might as well finish it. So
I'm looking for something. You know what made it all worth it though? What the one of the best things in the game was the suit that Red ate. Red wore during the card game. I was sitting there.
Oh, that was so good.
Laughing.
I gotta make a videos compiling my reactions. Vaughn with team. Are you on? Oh, Tifa, of course. My wifey, my girl. Love Tifa. It's Tifa's birthday today. I don't know what that means, but apparently it's Tifa's birthday today. Someone told me.
My favorite Italian politician.
Oh my god.
Come on, I had to.
No, I know. Ridiculous. That's such a crazy news story.
I cannot divorce Tifa from that particular event. There's just no way. I'm trying to find the little short that showcased that J Moles did because it was freaking hilarious. His reaction. I watched it live too, and it was even funnier.
It was in an Italian Senate meeting. They played like Tifa porn, right?
Yeah. For those who are wondering, the Italian there was a meeting of the Italian Parliament. Somebody played a 3D animated prawn video of Tifa getting railed from behind, and so now like I can't find it now. God, I'm not trying to find that video. I was trying to find the short that J Moles made about it, but he makes shorts like every day, so It's buried somewhere and I can't find it.
It's so nuts, dude. It's so nuts. Yeah, I'm Tifa. Everyone, make sure to I'll explain why I'm Team Tifa in this video that I'm uploading tomorrow. This again, 2-hour video essay. Check it out. It'll be out tomorrow. I'm putting the finishing touches on it today. It's called Final Fantasy VII: A Masterclass in Storytelling, where I'm just going to systematically break down. And if you like Final Fantasy VII, make sure you back that limited edition Final Fantasy VII homage cover.
Yeah, I'm not trying to find the Italian Parliament footage. I'm trying to find the Red X's suit footage, because what was even funnier than the suit he was wearing was the way he was walking afterwards.
Yeah, he was like,
yeah,
because at first,
like a dog that was begging.
Yeah, because in the original game he suits up, and then I was like, oh, I guess they're leaving that part out of the original, and then they did it even better in remake. That's why I think Rebirth did some stuff better than the original, even though it came at the price of having that stupid. You know what's the worst part? It tricked that stuff like that tricks me into thinking that card game mechanic is fun. It's not, but I still, because of stuff like that, I keep playing it because of the occasional good stuff.
Right.
15, I didn't finish. I don't know. The story didn't grip me the way the others did. And also the driving around the car got annoying. But 15 didn't grip me the way 7 did.
I've always wanted to play 15, but I never got around to it because it just never got around to it. That's all. Not for any other reason. I can't find it. Fuck it. It's fine. But I know as long as you like go into it realizing it's just a trip with the road trip with the boys and not like this big overarching world-ending fantasy story, that you'll be a little all right.
I think I keep playing the side quests is my problem too. I started getting OCD with side quests, and I feel like I used to enjoy games more when I would just do side quests when I felt like it instead of forcing myself to.
Right.
And so I kept feeling like I needed to do every side quest, and I think the game started being less fun for me. I think I needed to get back to 15 and just play the game, just play the game and finish it out.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, we're going to go. We done said our goodbyes. Vaughn, thank you for dropping in.
Thank you for having me.
Your comic looks great. I'm glad to see the amount of success.
350 backers. So
350? Let's check that out.
We just hit 350 backers. So I got 2 during this show, so that's great. Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool.
Everyone, make sure to back it if you're interested. And if you can't yet, if you're not sure, hold on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on any socials.
That's awesome, man. And I'm looking forward to this, and look forward to issue 2 whenever that comes out.
Oh yeah, that's written. I'm probably gonna revise the script soon.
If you're anything like me as a creative, you're probably thinking like 7, 8 books or issues down the road.
I've already written the first 8 issues, and then I have the first I have a plan for like the first. I have like multiple plans. I have like a rougher 100 issue plan, but then I have like a more specific 20 issue plan, or like 50. Like it gets less specific as it goes, but I do have a long term plan. I've rewritten it, and obviously I know it will change, but I do have like a long term plan for this series, and that's why I kept revising it, because I was like, okay, issue 1 needs to be really damn good. Now the thing is, I also realized that if it is my best issue as a writer, what a failure. So that was one of the things where after a certain point I was like, all right, it's not going to be perfect. I have to just stop revising it. But I'm glad I revised it as much as I did.
Hey, look, I give that same advice when it comes to writing a book. At some point, you got to stop editing and you got to put the damn thing out there.
Yeah, that's what I did after my however many a 3 write. I was like, okay, I can't have everyone's approval.
Because believe it or not, you can over edit a book.
Oh, I've noticed that. Yeah, that's the thing. I think I was getting into over. I think I'm trying to put aside. I think also that even goes to art, where I kept telling my artists to revise, and I was like, at a certain point, I need to go. It's fine. It's almost like, because it almost becomes a habit where it's like I feel like I would get pages and I'm like, this is perfect. Where's and then I put it away. I'm like, wait, let me make sure. I'm like, I'm just looking for flaws at this point. I need to stop.
Yeah, that perfectionism can end up stifling you,
becoming OCD. Honestly,
yeah. And the only way to really improve is to kind of move on and
yeah.
do
So
the
I'm
next
to get
step
better
or something new. You're never going to grow if you keep tweaking the same thing over and over again. Again, over editing. But still, thank you for everyone that showed up over from Vaughn's channel, over on my channel, from Twitter, and everywhere else across the sphere. If you're watching this on a replay, thank you for watching this long. I'm John A. Douglas.
Yes,
my
Kirby.
guest, Mr. Vaugh Coleman. Thank you all for being here. Hope you all have a good day.